A brother has said something quite unkind to you. This has become a day of distress. The thought comes to your mind, how can a brother behave like that and still be in good standing? He's not a good example. Why don't the elders do something about it? Now that's discouragement speaking, calling for us to get on board. If we stay on that negative train of thought, we could lose our spiritual strength. But we still have a choice. Will we replace those negative thoughts with positive ones? We could get our mind on a positive track by saying to ourselves something like this: well, that was an unkind thing for him to say. This is not like him. Maybe my brother just had a bad day. He's as imperfect as I am. I've said unkind things too at times and have regretted it. He's probably feeling the same way. I remember Colossians 3:13 says that we must continue putting up with one another and forgiving one another freely, even if anyone has a cause for complaint against another. Well, he has given me a cause for complaint. But it says Jehovah has freely forgiven us. He has certainly forgiven me countless times. No, I'm not going to allow this to ruin our relationship. How can I help my brother? I'll pray for him. And I'll pray for myself that I don't hold feelings of resentment in my heart.
How manipulative, and again, how telling of what the true motives for this talk really are. Patrick LaFranca here, a helper to the governing body, taking us through the September JW Broadcasting episode, which is supposedly about helping Jehovah's Witnesses think positively and banish discouragement, but it's just becoming obvious at this point that it's nothing really to do with simply helping Jehovah's Witnesses feel happy. This is specifically to do with reminding Jehovah's Witnesses of their duty to silence any doubts or misgivings they may be having about their religion. In this case, to excuse toxic behavior being exhibited by other believers around them, perhaps in their congregation. That's what we've just been hearing. Oh, if someone says something unkind to you or treats you in an unkind way, don't be having any discouraging thoughts. Don't give in to the idea that this person owes an apology or should be held accountable in some way for their toxic behavior. No, the problem is with you for allowing yourself to think about what this person has done from the point of view of how it should be fixed. Clearly, it's you who should be fixed for having a problem to begin with, because there can be no problems between followers. We all need to forgive and forget. If someone does something that's unkind or treats you in an unkind way, you have to forgive them unless it's something that they can be disfellowshipped for, in which case, please come and tell the elders. So if someone says something like, you know what, I don't think this is the truth anymore. I don't think that the governing body are really the faithful slave. That sort of thing you can't forgive and forget. That sort of thing you're supposed to tootle along to your elders and immediately tell them what's happened, and the whole thing will just get blown completely out of proportion. The person will get dragged in to be confronted by elders and could end up in front of a judicial committee, being disfellowshipped for apostasy, for spreading negativity in the congregation. All manner of things could happen in that scenario. But if it's just someone being unkind to you or doing something that's upset you, you need to forgive and forget. You need to extend forgiveness and just pretend the whole thing hasn't happened. And of course, this is expected of Jehovah's Witnesses, even in cases where someone has done something terrible and convinced elders that they're sorry. So, for example, if a Jehovah's Witness is guilty of abusing a child, he can convince the elders that he's sorry and only be reproved. And his victims, who might be in the same congregation, are expected to forgive and forget. That's the Jehovah's Witness culture that Patrick LaFranca is alluding to and encouraging here. It is a toxic culture where essentially anything goes, anything that doesn't threaten the organization in some way, anything that only threatens you or is only harmful to you, if it's being done by a fellow believer, should just be forgiven, should just be treated as though it never happened. And if you're going to dwell on it in any way or feel in any way resentful at this toxic behavior, well, it's your fault.